Good evening and welcome to the October 13th, 2021 Board of Education meeting for the Levittown School District. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would ask for a motion to adjourn to executive session. Christina, motion. Second, Mike. All in favor? 6-0. We will be back at 7:30. Thank you. Ready? Good evening and welcome back to the October 13th Board of Education meeting. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by our students from MacArthur High School.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, students from MacArthur. At this time, I would also ask for a moment of silence for all those serving our country at home and abroad, and also would like to remember Diane Shapiro, who passed away, who was a former board president for the Board of Education for a long period of time. Thank you. Okay, I would just like to say for the minutes, there's 6 members of the Board of Education here tonight. Marianne Adrian is excused. Okay. I would just like to start our meeting with a statement. The board has received several emails asking why we do not say the Pledge of Allegiance at our meetings. I am happy to say that we open every meeting at 6:30 with the pledge and a moment of silence for our soldiers, and then we adjourn to our executive session. When we have students making presentations, we had them also say their pledge at 7:30 when we return from executive session. Now that we are streaming our meetings, it seems that since the people do not tune in until 7:30, they have assumed that we no longer say the pledge. Going forward, we will say the pledge when we reconvene the meeting at 7:30 and at the beginning of our meeting at 6:30. We will continue to have the students say the pledge when they are making presentations. In addition, the board is happy to see that our community has been attending our meetings of late. This is the place where concerns, comments, and opinions are welcome, and we do our best as elected representatives of the community to address concerns within a timely fashion. Your thoughts and concerns are important to us, and we thank you for providing us with the opportunity to hear them. Okay. Let's see, first on our agenda, I am turning this over to Dr. McDonald.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rangi. And I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Winch, who will introduce the student presentation by MacArthur High School.
Thank you, Dr. McDonald. It is wonderful that we once again kind of go back and return a little normalcy to the district by having our academic presentations by our schools at board meetings. And tonight it is kicked off by MacArthur High School. So at this time I'd like to introduce Mr. Joseph Sheehan, principal of MacArthur High School, who will introduce our academic presentation for tonight.
Great pleasure that we showcase our amazing morning announcement program in conjunction with our digital media class, which is under the guidance and direction of dynamic business teacher, Mr. William Farney. So without further ado, here is morning announcement team member Khalil Garrett with some insight regarding this presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Khalil Garrett. I'm a senior at MacArthur and an anchor of WMHS, our morning news show team. Thank you for allowing me to share with you tonight a look at what we do each day. WMHS is a student-run operation where we are responsible for producing a show each morning that shares all of the information of what's going on at MacArthur. In addition, we create segments highlighting different causes and events and accomplishments of our community. The tools and technology we use each day provide us with an opportunity to learn so many different skills. We take care of everything, including creating concepts, planning, filming, editing, and production. It is a real-life experience, and we are so grateful to have this opportunity. We put together this short film to give you a better idea of what goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, good evening and welcome. I'm Ariana Deal and I'm an anchor for WMHS. You're going to watch this film about the morning announcements? I have some time. Let me give you a real look around. This is where it all happens, the WMHS studio. Here they are, our anchors from day one. It's hard to believe that this is the 10th season of our morning announcements. 10 years of stories that made us laugh, touched our hearts, and opened our eyes and minds to so many wonderful causes. We started with a couple of simple cameras, an old television, and a sheet for the background. Over the last decade, we've gone from standard definition to high definition, stepped up our camera game, and upgraded just about every aspect of our production. While the technology continues to evolve, the lessons, concepts, and fundamental skills that are taught here have never altered, but I'll get back to that. First, let's see how it all happens. Each morning, when the team arrives at 6:15, I know, it's pretty early, they get right to work. The script, which was emailed out the night before so that we could practice, is printed and loaded onto our iPads. The iPads are loaded into the teleprompters and cameras are calibrated, but it's not just the people in front of and behind the cameras. We are conveniently connected to the computer lab. This is where a lot of editing for segments takes place and the design and creation of our graphics. Oh, Khalil's working on one now. Hi Khalil, I'm just showing these good people around.
Oh, good evening. I'm Khalil Garrett, another anchor here at WMHS. Nice to see you. I'm finished here. I'll show them to Central Control. This is Central Control. It's where the behind-the-scenes activity happens. Students operate the switch and capture station here. All of the cameras feed here, and the person operating will switch from shot to shot. The footage is captured here. Once we finish filming, it must be transferred, edited, post-production media must be added, then it must be rendered, exported, and finally uploaded. It's a pretty complex process, but we get it done, and the announcements are up by the end of first period for all to see. We leave them up there until the next one goes up so that parents, relatives, and all of the community can keep up to date at what's going on at MacArthur.
Thanks Khalil, but I'll take it from here.
But I was just getting started.
Our time is limited.
All right, bye for now.
There are a lot of jobs here, and everyone must know how to do each and every one. See, that's one of the most important lessons we learn. How to stand out, be useful, always be ready to step up and seize the opportunity to advance. Advancement in the workplace often comes without notice, and we learn to always be ready to take advantage. So how does a class in digital media or video production help someone who becomes a doctor, a teacher, an accountant, or any field? Let me use our green screen to help me out. These skills that are learned are universal to all careers, to all of life for that matter. Needs a little something. Perfect. Here are a few of my teammates with some more of what we learn.
You are always representing yourself. You realize there are consequences for all your actions. Everything we do represents us. We learn to look at every little detail, whether it's a spelling mistake on the scroll bar or the way you pronounce something. We take pride in doing things correctly. I look at the way that I send my text messages, and that doesn't fly here. We're expected to act professional and turn out a professional product. Things I may not have always paid attention to, I now find myself closely paying attention to.
We use software that is used in the television and movie industry. It's crazy to think that I'm using the same tools that people are out there making movies and TV shows with. There's so much you can do with these programs. Every project seems to bring light to a new feature or function. I find myself watching television now and looking for the different effects and features that I'm using in school.
We come in and we are responsible for everything that goes on. It's up to us to get the job done. No excuses. From beginning to end, we create something each day and every day, and it's something pretty special. More importantly, we do it together as a team.
Every day is something new. We need to keep coming up with ideas and different ways of doing things. It's not just learning something and repeating it back. It's taking concepts and ideas and shaping them into our own works. You need to be creative and problem solve. Things go wrong, have to make the deadline. An obstacle comes up, have to make the deadline. Problem solving is an everyday necessity. We have to think for ourselves and we have to think on the fly. It's intense, but it's so rewarding.
You have to know everything that is going on. There's no such thing as the person who does that is absent. We all have to be ready to step into any position. I know that when I'm at my job in the future, the more I know how to do, the more valuable I am. If my boss needs someone to do something, and I can step in, that's a chance I have to advance.
It's not like being in a class, it's more like being at a job. We are given the independence to work it out for ourselves. We were shown how everything works over the summer, and then it's up to us. If we have a question, it's usually answered with another question or a couple of questions. It can be a bit frustrating when you are under the time constraint, but it definitely teaches you to think on your own and how often we can come to the answer ourselves if we just take the time to think.
There's so many moving pieces. We have to make sure they all get done. We need to communicate and work with each other. Details are incredibly important. There are so many elements that we have to make sure that each and every one is done and done well.
WMHS plays a very important role here at MacArthur High School. It takes lots of patience, dedication, time, care, and of course plenty of work. Many may not realize all that we do behind the scenes. Whether it's from that first flick of the switch to light up the desk at 6:30 a.m. each morning, to editing our tapings, working with top-class software, being a core team player, working with each other, brainstorming new ideas, or gaining skills. It all comes together in the end. We all place our heart and soul into this. No matter the situation, we can always work out a solution, no matter how difficult it may be. That's what WMHS stands for.
This program has really helped some jumpstart their journey into communications. We have alumni who obtain jobs and internships with Fox News, Major League Baseball, Cheddar Business Channel, Penn State Athletics, ESPN. We even have a former anchor that is currently broadcasting on the University of Maryland radio station, just to name a few. Some quotes we heard back from them are, These quotes are just a few, showing how this experience helps us grow. The learning that goes on in this room is extensive. It provides us with invaluable tools. Thank you to the Levittown community for the opportunities you provide us. We are so grateful for the tools and technology we utilize each day. And a special thank you to the incredible technology department who always helps us out. Hey. I look forward to putting this knowledge and these skills to use when I head into college and into my career, but I'm in no rush. For now, I still have plenty of my senior year to enjoy here. Thanks for being with us tonight, and I'll see you on air. Good morning, MacArthur. Here with your morning announcements, I'm Ariana Deal.
On behalf of all the members of WMHS, Thank you to our incredible Board of Education and to Dr. McDonald and all the members of Central Office for providing us with this opportunity. Thank you so very much. We sincerely appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehan, and the members of MacArthur High School. The presentation was so enjoyable, enlightening, and we're so grateful that so many of our students are taking advantage of the programs that MacArthur has to offer. Thank you for your enthusiasm, and thank you for coming here tonight to show us.
Okay, the next thing we have is also Mr. Winch. And Mr. Winch, do you want them to stay seated or?
I think this is good for now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McDonald.
Oh, may I just say one other thing?
You may.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, to recognize that we have Ms. Gina Interdonato here this evening, who is a former Board of Education and a wonderful contributor to our Levittown community. And I see many faculty members and administrators here this evening, and we also truly appreciate your attendance here this evening. Okay, Mr. Winch, I'm done.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. So tonight we are proud to take part in the annual School Board Recognition Week. This is the time to promote awareness and understanding of the important work performed by school board members. Levittown School District joins all public schools across the state to celebrate School Board Recognition Week to honor local board members for their commitment to the Levittown school community and its children. It takes strong schools to build a strong community, and these individuals devote countless hours to make sure our schools are helping every child learn at a high level. They make the tough decisions every month and spend many hours studying education issues and regulations in order to provide the kind of program our citizens expect. School board members statewide collectively oversee more than 2.4 million kindergarten through 12th grade students. We are extremely proud of the efforts that each of our board members has put forward in order to truly provide success for every student. The role of board members is even more critical during challenging times. This has never been more true than the past 20 months. Please join me in thanking each of our board members by name. President of the Board of Education, Peggy Marangi, who has been a board member for 12 years. Vice President Jennifer Messina, who's been a board member for 5 years. Secretary of the Board of Education, James Moran, who's been a board member for 23 years. Trustee Marianne Adrian, who's been a board member for 7 years. Trustee Dylan Kane, who's been a member for 5 years. Trustee Christina Lang, who's been a board member for 6 years. And Trustee Michael Pappas, who's been a board member for 14 years. I just want to make an announcement that we have had several elected officials join us over the last couple of hours to show their appreciation for the board. I just don't want to miss anybody. Has anybody come and is in the audience from any of our elected officials who are looking to speak? So come on up.
This is working. I'm here on behalf of Assemblyman Dave McDonough. I just wanted to extend my gratitude to the board for all the hard work that you do. Thank you for everything you do for the Levittown community. And on behalf of the State Assembly, we have a citation for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here on behalf of Senator Kevin Thomas, and I just wanted to thank you all. You do an amazing job under normal circumstances, and what we've had hasn't been anywhere close to normal circumstances. And so he wants to thank you for just an outstanding, outstanding job these past couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have proclamations for you guys as well.
Thank you very much. Before we move on, is there anybody else? Don't want to miss anybody? Okay. We, like I said, have had several of our elected officials join us throughout the day. So we have proclamations from County Executive Laura Curran, from New York State Assemblyman John Michelin, and from Nassau County legislators John Ferretti and Tom McKevitt. Once again, sharing their gratitude for all of the efforts of our Board of Education. So let's give them a round of applause for their I would also like to share a word of thanks from our 3 bargaining units, CSEA, LUT, and ALSA. You may have enjoyed the food tonight's dinner, which they provided to show their appreciation. And so ALSA, LUT, and CSE would like to thank the Board of Education for all their support always, and especially during these most challenging times. President John Avina from ALSA, President John Caulfield from LUT, and President Tom Dewey from CSEA. Thank you very much. Okay, please turn your attention to the posters in the back of the room from our 6 elementary schools. Each poster, a thank you from our students and staff for the countless hours our board spends helping to move our district forward. Our elementary principals and assistant principals, if you could just give a wave that you're here. And there are many of you in the back there. Thank you very much for coming tonight. We also have tonight with us representatives and student groups from each middle and high school who are going to come up with a brief presentation for you. I would like to start off with Salk Middle School. We are joined by Assistant Principal Amy O'Grady. Unfortunately, Mr. Z has another event tonight with his son, and so we are more than thrilled, though, to have Ms. O'Grady with us from Salk Middle School.
Consolation prize. Come on up, girls. Okay, so good evening, everyone. And as Mr. Winch said, Mr. Zampaglione did ask me to send his regards and his apologies for not being able to be here tonight. His son was being honored in his senior night soccer game, so that's where he is. But on behalf of Mr. Z, myself, and the Salk staff, we'd like to thank the Board of Education for everything that they've done for our school and the Levittown community as a whole. So tonight we have some representatives from our National Junior Honor Society who would like to thank you as well as our National Junior Honor Society advisor, Samantha McKevitt. So I'll turn it over to the girls.
Hello and good evening. I'm Emma Ehrlich, president of the Salk National Junior Honor Society. The Salk National Junior Honor Society is an organization that recognizes and celebrates the qualities of academic achievement, leadership, and service.
Hello, I'm Casey Markle, and I'm the Vice President of the National Junior Honor Society. Throughout our academic careers in the Levittown School District, we have always seen these qualities exemplified and modeled by the members of the Board of Education.
Hello, I am Kaylee O'Shea, and I am the Secretary of the National Junior Honor Society. We thank you for your year-round commitment to the children, families, and community of Levittown. This past year and a half have been challenging for staff, students, and administrators alike. The Board of Education has guided us all through it and always maintained Levittown's commitment to safety and success for every student.
Hello, I am Violet Papalo, and I'm the Parliamentarian of National Junior Honor Society at Salk. We thank you for your commendable service to the students of Levittown and for all you have done for our schools.
Thank you, Salk Middle School. I would like to now introduce Mr. John Avina, principal of Wisdom Lane Middle School.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. McDonald, Board of Education members. Tonight I have with me our Wisdom Lane student government under the advisorship of Ms. Halverson and Ms. Carella, who are in the back if they can give a wave. Okay, and I'm going to turn it over to the girls at this time.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education and guests. We are representatives Jocelyn DiGrotola,
Gabriella Lown,
Shannon McCarthy,
Dara Flores,
of the student government at Wisdom Lane Middle School.
We would like to take this opportunity to thank you for all the support you give to the students, staff, and residents of Levittown.
Thank you for your leadership and support. With your guidance and help, our school is able to provide numerous opportunities and experience to all of our students and staff. Especially in these trying times, we have learned from one another to help us grow as a united community.
As a token of our appreciation, the Wisdom Lane GO would like to treat the Board of Education and Central Office Administration to a dinner of their choice at future Board of Education meeting. Once again, thank you for your continuous support.
Very sweet.
Thank you, Wisdom Lane. I would now like to introduce Mr. John Kasha, principal of Division Avenue High School.
Good evening, Good evening, everyone. Sorry about that. Tonight, we have our wonderful student council with us. I'd like to call you up here as we get started. We have Grace Lim, Chris Powers, Sylvia Ferrara, Sydney Cho, Jessica Bandal, Sean Munoz, and also joining me is our assistant principal, Jackie Deese, and Mrs. Nancy Lavolsi. Before I hand the microphone over, I just want to extend a sincere thank you for everything you've done for us, not only over the past year, but the past 9 years I've been here. It's really been an honor to get to know each and every one of you, and what you've done for Division Avenue is really appreciated. We thank you very, very much. At this point, I'd like to pass the microphone over to Grace Lim.
Good evening. My name is Grace H. Lim, and I am president of the Student Council at Division Avenue High School. I am joined by my fellow officers today, and even though we have faced many adversities throughout the past year, we are thrilled to be able to have homecoming on October 29th as it marks a momentous return of one of our most celebrated community events at DAHS. We look forward to having you there, and on behalf of the students and staff at Division Avenue High School, we would like to present you with these personalized Dragon sweatshirts as well as a gift certificate that can be used to enjoy a treat at the Snack Shack during our homecoming game. We sincerely thank you for your support and everything you do for DAHS and the Levittown School District.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kasha, and everybody from Division Avenue School.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, hon. That's so kind of you.
Thank you very much, Division Avenue. And finally, the principal of MacArthur High School, Mr. Joseph Sheehan.
Good evening again. Just like to, once again, thank all the members of our Board of Education, Dr. McDonald, as well as all the members of Central Office for all your help and support throughout this year and all years as well. I'd like to now call up our 6 members of our senior class officers, along with Mrs. Basundiel, our senior class advisor, and our president, Sean Napoli, has some words for our wonderful Board of Education.
Good evening. My name is Sean Napoli. I am the senior class president for the MacArthur High School class of 2022. I would like to introduce the other class officers with me this evening. Gigi Carcione as vice president, Jordan Flores as recording secretary, Bella Tiripicchio as corresponding secretary, Michael Malika as class treasurer, and Khalil Garrett as the advisor to the superintendent. On behalf of the students of MacArthur High School, especially the senior class of 2022, we would like to thank you for the service to our school district. We are excited to be here tonight to kick off this year's return to the school. As seniors, we had to reinvent some of our tried and true events, but we are looking forward to seeing you at all of our school activities, the many plays, concerts, and events hosted by the Generals. This year, we added a senior banquet under the direction of Miss Marino, the junior class advisor, and enjoyed an evening under the stars. We are especially grateful for the return of our homecoming parade and enjoyed marching alongside you with our marching band was once again on full display. We hope you enjoyed our 10th annual Pink Out football game this past weekend. Ms. Savage puts on a spectacular event. No matter what events are taking place, the students at MacArthur always look forward to seeing you, and they cannot wait to show off their skills at our upcoming Masked Entertainer. But the students of MacArthur know that to be at all of the events, it takes countless hours and evenings away from our home. Please know that your time and dedication to the students and community of Levittown are greatly appreciated. When thinking about a gift to convey our appreciation for all the time and effort put in by the Board of Education, we wanted the gift to be something personally handcrafted by MacArthur. Please accept these wood-carved name plaques and lanyards. When wearing these lanyards, you will always have a little piece of MacArthur with you. Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you so much. That's nice.
Thank you so much.
You want to? Oh.
Yeah.
Someone have Jim's?
I'm going to put it right there.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you very much, MacArthur High School. I don't think that I saw Keith Snyder, right? But I did want to just mention that from our athletic department, we have sweatshirts and some hats. I know one hat's there, another hat is coming, so there's another little token of appreciation for all of your efforts.
Well,
and
those
then-
are the snazzy camo hats from
Yes.
MacArthur High School. They are in great demand.
They are.
And division hats are on their way, so.
I also have an announcement from PTA Council President Mary Ganga, who unfortunately could not be with us tonight, but she did ask me to read a statement, so I'm doing my best. Ms. Marangi, esteemed board members, Dr. McDonald, and distinguished district staff, thank you for allowing me a moment tonight. Having been privy to the inner workings and concerns that this Board of Education has had to deal with over the past 18 months, I knew I wanted to show you what your dedication and hard work for the parents and children of our district has meant. I know you have all heard your fair share of criticism recently, and I am here to tell you that, from the PTA's perspective, we know better. We have stood side by side with you at countless meetings and events. You have always shown us respect even when we disagree, and have given a helping hand when you can. I watched this board put their lives on the line, literally, during the initial days of COVID to make sure that no one went hungry in a time when so many could not afford to buy a can of soup. You all have gone out of your way in different ways, more times than we can count. Together, you have brainstormed every possible way to give the children of this district the best experience in the worst of times. We have not forgotten that the things we see in the schools today are the simple things we wished for last year. We know that sitting at this table isn't always easy. Thank you for always allowing yourselves to show grace under pressure and for being the voice of our children. We would like to thank you all for your service to our community. As Fred Rogers, a great child advocate, said, anyone who does anything to help a child in his life is a hero to me. To recognize all of your contributions to our children, the Levittown Council of PTAs will be donating a $175 grocery gift card to the Wisdom Lane Food Pantry in your name. Again, thank you for your service to our community, and thank you for allowing me a few moments to say thank you. And before we finish tonight, I just would like to say a quick thank you to the many teachers, administrators, and district staff members who have joined us tonight. So many thanks to you for being here for this moment, like Mrs. Marangi said. And once again, thank you to all the representatives from our secondary schools, our elementary schools, and a final thank you to our Board of Education members for their dedication to the Levittown School District. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to say every year this night is a very wonderful night for the Board of Education, but it's also a very humbling night because you're thanking us for what we do for you. And there is so much gratitude that we gain from the parents, the students, the faculty, the staff, the administrators, the PTA, everybody that has anything to do with this community, our central office team, with this community. This community has always functioned as a community of togetherness, giving, caring, and sharing. And we continue with that tradition, and we always hope to continue with that tradition. Nothing is more important to the Board of Education than having a community where our kids feel safe coming to school, they receive a good education, and they have the freedom to be who they're supposed to be. So even though the night is dedicated to us, we are eternally grateful and very thankful and humbled by your presentations and also by your appearance here this evening. Thank you.
I just, hold on, I just have one more thing. Because Mr. Sheehan is here tonight, and MacArthur High School has their official board liaison in Khalil Garrett, I just wanted Mr. Sheehan to just come up and just share a few words about Khalil before he leaves. So, Mr. Sheehan, can you come on up and join us again?
Thank you, Mike. You guys miss me? All right. Well, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the MacArthur High School student representative to the superintendent, Khalil Garrett. To say he is a well-rounded and accomplished young man would be a major understatement. As a student, he is of the highest quality, as he is a member of our business, world language, and national honor societies. He is a Renaissance Gold Card holder, which symbolizes academic excellence, and just a couple of weeks ago, College Board designated him a National African American Scholar. Khalil, yes. Khalil also possesses enormous acting and performance talents, as he played 3 different roles in our musical Hello, Dolly a couple of years ago, and was named the Max Got Talent champion in 2019 for his spectacular dance performance. In addition, he has played an instrumental role for the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion team, MACCEPT, Pride for All, and Key Clubs, and is a valued member of our winter and spring track and field teams. As you can see, this is one incredible young man, so please join me in welcoming Khalil as this year's student representative to the superintendent for MacArthur High School. I promise I'm done now.
Okay. I just have an announcement that I would like to read. Tonight is bittersweet. With unanimous vote, the Board of Education has accepted the resignation of Dr. McDonald for the purpose of retirement at the end of the school year. Dr. McDonald, let me get through this without crying. Dr. McDonald is Levittown. For her time at Memorial as a student, to her years in division as a teacher and administrator, to these last 8 years as our superintendent of schools, she has always put Levittown first. Her love for and commitment to our students, staff, and the Levittown community will be greatly missed. During her tenure, the district has boosted its academic offerings, including additional advanced placement opportunities through the AP Capstone program, implemented and expanded upon its one-to-one technology initiative, increased its focus on emotional and social learning, expanded its summer learning opportunities, and introduced the flexible learning spaces and outdoor learning opportunities, just to name a few. We thank Dr. McDonald for her years of dedication to the Levittown Public School and community. Over the next few weeks, we will be reviewing our options as how best to fill the position of our next superintendent. At this time, I would like the board to stand and show Dr. McDonald our appreciation.
Thank you very much. As I've said, it's been my pleasure. I see the best administrative staff in the world here, and I'm very grateful for them. I have an amazing central office staff, and it takes a team to really run a school district every day. And I have an incredible Board of Education who stood beside us, and when we needed something, they came through, and it's been tough. There have been tough financial times, but they've still been there. So thank you to everyone. And we still have a lot of time left, so.
And you can guarantee Dr. McDonald will work even harder this year. If you know Dr. McDonald's character, he's not the one that's going to put in her retirement papers and exit and just fill a void. She will work very hard this year, as she always has, and we will really be picking her brain over the next year as we search on how to continue to move forward the Levittown School District. So thank you again, Dr. McDonald.
Thank you very much.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to draw your attention to the artwork around the school. The artwork from Summit Lane School is beautiful. Mr. Scolscioti, please extend our gratitude to the students and faculty member of your school that put up this beautiful work. We truly appreciate it. All right, we are now up to the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Mrs. Rifkin to introduce this very special presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McDonald. At this time, more than ever before, social emotional learning is so important for our students, and I'm not sure that anybody in the school district understands how much we really have to offer for our students. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Susie Farber, our Director of Pupil Services, who will share some information about the programs and services that we offer in the district.
I don't know what I did with mine. Big build-up for the president to sit on.
Okay, perfect. Okay, big build-up for this presentation, but it is a really special presentation because I really want to just let everyone know that as I was going through all of the SEL programs that we do here in Levittown, I really did not realize until I sat down the breadth and the depth of the programs that we have district-wide. And so I'm really excited to present this presentation. So I appreciate coming here tonight, and I'm honored to sit here and go over this for the members of the Board of Education, for Dr. McDonald, for Central Office, and for the greater Levittown community. So in terms of the structure for tonight, we're really, there were so many programs and so much that we do that I divided it into elementary programs, SEL, and that's social emotional learning, secondary, and then we're really going to focus on what are we doing during a pandemic. How are we supporting our students, their social emotional needs, our staff needs, our community needs. So when we look at the elementary buildings, there's a lot of programming that we have going on. So when we look at programs that are related to positive body awareness, self-esteem, and healthy choices, here are a number of the programs that are going on. We have Beautiful Me, which is really focused on girls grade 5, and it looks at fostering their self-esteem, positive self-talk, improved body image, and social relationships. We have the PS I Love You Day, which recognizes the importance of being kind. We have Mindfulness, which is school-wide engagement activities that focus on meditation, mindful moments, mindful Mondays, positive messages. We partnered with Yes Counseling about 2 years ago, and we brought PACS in for 2nd grade. And that program really focused on promoting positive behaviors within the classroom environment. And the teachers were really, really engaged in the program. And we really saw a lot of growth regarding student behaviors, appropriate student behaviors, kindness towards others. And it really has been a very, very effective program. We continue to use Get a Voice, which is a bullying prevention program that helps develop positive character for all students. And some of the buildings have also had a special anti-bullying assembly brought on by the Islanders, which was a special presentation. We also focus in the elementary on alcohol prevention and drug use prevention. And for that, the programs that we've been utilizing are Too Good for Drugs. We also continue our Lead Week and Red Ribbon Week, where we look at promoting positive choices for health, wellness, and resistance to drugs and alcohol. And we've also had special presentations come in from Campbell, which really focus on making good choices, taking care of yourself and others. A lot of the Campbell productions have also focused on understanding of others, self-leadership. How do we promote self-leadership with our students? How do we teach students to have goals? How do we teach them how to set goals? As adults, we all have goals. And we want to make sure that we instill those goal-setting strategies in students even as they're in the elementary grades. And of course, we also focus on kindness, social media, and good citizenship. Additional SEL supports at the elementary are our mentoring program. So we have teachers, staff members that look at our students in the buildings, and any student that really needs a little bit extra support, they have something going on, whether it's at home or in school, and we will match those students with staff members to mentor them throughout their time in school. We also continue our groups of Banana Splits and Changing Families, and those are support groups for students whose families, whose parents are either going through a divorce or a separation. We continue with social skills groups, and those really are focused on weekly groups led by the social workers, and those can be specific to different things depending on the needs of the student. So if it's a student we might find that have anxiety, we might group students together to work on those skills. There are students that are working on, how do I make friends? I'm in kindergarten, and this is my first year in a school setting, and how do I go up and, I want to be friends with Johnny? Some kids don't know how to make friendships. And they might think that, running up and tugging on Johnny's shirt is the way to get his attention. And that's not really the case, we know. So we really work on developing those social skills. Our social workers and psychologists also push into classrooms, depending on the needs of the class. And they conduct lessons, they work in small groups and with specific students. We also have a Worry and Me program, which is a social work-led group for students who have different worries and anxieties related to school. And we also have specific SEL programs in a lot of our elementary schools, Pride, Rise, and Action, which are school-wide initiatives that promote a school-wide positive behavior system to create a culture emphasizing unity and inclusion, character education, and social-emotional development through curriculum awareness and school spirit events. So middle school has a lot of what we see at the elementary, but we also have some additional programs. So we have something that's called Middle School 101, and it's really an awesome thing. What it is that we look at 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, and we look at the developmental growth of students. And based on their developmental growth, we focus on specific skills related to SEL. So in 6th grade, we're working on lessons that pertain to middle school, really transitioning to middle school, and learning emotional regulation. There's a lot of changes when students come from elementary to middle school. They're changing classes. They have a lot more teachers sometimes. Periods are different. The expectations are different. And students sometimes need a little bit of help and assistance learning how to regulate all the different things that they're feeling, especially since at this age we all know that puberty hits. And so there's a lot going on. And so we have the special middle school 101 program for 6th grade. When we get to 7th grade, we're looking at working on growth mindset. Students are starting to develop insight at this age. And we're starting to work on teaching different coping skills and perspectives. And when we get to 8th grade, we're working on the continuation of the development of coping skills. In addition, we're preparing them for a transition to high school. So I know this slide has a lot of information on it, but in a nutshell, these are different programs, strategies, and skill building that we have at the middle school related to SEL. So we have mediation, which is where we're working with students on problem solving and resolution-focused interventions focused on assisting students with conflict mediation, peer pressure, and peer support. We have tons of groups at the middle school level. We have chat groups, which are just informal gatherings of students to talk about common interests. We work on building friendships, increasing self-confidence. We have support groups that focus on different common topics. They could be anxiety, bereavement, whatever it is that the students need, we will form a support group for them at the middle school. We have lunch groups, which also, sometimes lunch can be a very difficult time. Students kind of have a hard time sometimes finding their way. And so we have lunch groups available for students to really promote social skills, help them form friendships and relationships, and teach them all different skills. We have counseling that's always available, so if students need a higher level of support, our social workers, psychologists, and guidance counselors are all available. And we also have after-school clubs, which also promote character building, respect, kindness, and pay-it-forward concepts. Additional middle school SELs are, we also continue to have parent workshops to address coping strategies in development in middle school. We've had the PTA, thankfully, has sponsored assemblies as well, targeting character education, and we've had follow-up discussions in the classroom. And our LEAD program also continues at the middle school level with district-wide initiatives to promote positive choices and health and wellness. There are also some specific programs related to both Wisdom and SALC. They're similar in nature, but sometimes they just have some different names. But Wisdom has Project Wisdom, which is character education program focused on inspirational messages broadcast over the PA system. And Caught Being Kind, which is school-wide program which staff and students catch others being kind and submit a referral for a student to receive a prize. As we all know, SALC has the RISE program, so character education, which focuses on a set of, consisting of a set of expectations, promoting social and emotional development through curriculum, awareness, and school spirit events. And they also have the RISE Roundtable, which really works on including students, giving them a voice, having them sit down and talk about matters that affect them and teach them, how do we advocate for ourselves? How do we talk about things that affect us in the school in an appropriate way? And so these are some of the specific programs that are within the buildings as well. If you see right now, we've had the elementary school, we've talked about different programs in them. We've talked about specific to the classroom, we've talked specific outside the classroom, we've talked about taking those and extending them to the middle school. And so as students develop, we really work on the different social emotional programs to meet their age levels. So at the high school level now, in addition to everything that we've talked about, our clubs are very specific and they really work on different skills. And a lot of them are student run with faculty members. So we have our mindfulness club, which practices meditation and mindfulness to promote healthy living. We all know how these days everyone's busy running around. And the hardest part is sometimes to just take a minute and breathe. Or take a minute and just smile across the room. And so mindfulness is reminding everyone to just sit down and, for lack of a better expression, smell the roses. It's really important that everyone takes that time these days. We have the Unity Club, which celebrates diversity and teaches students to respect others. We have the Pride for All Club, which also is a student-run club that welcomes all different students, and they work on respecting each other's identity as individuals, encouraging new friendships. We have our Peer Leader program, which is a service club aimed at easing the transition for ninth graders into high school. We have also Key Club, which is a student-run organization that focuses on community service, developing leadership skills, and reinforces the power of positive peer pressure. Additional high school SEL programs are, we continue to have the mentoring program. So we start out in elementary and it goes all the way up through high school, where we do pair students with staff members to provide additional support and enhance the students' educational experience. We bring in motivational speakers on all different mental health and wellness topics. This month, October, Division is hosting Steve Chasman on self-care, compassion, and resilience. LEAD, as I said, is a district-wide initiative. So from elementary to middle school to high school, we are conducting different events promoting positive choices for health and wellness. And all the groups that we talked about earlier, we continue them in the high school. So we have our lunch groups, our social skills groups, health and wellness. Oops. So additional SEL programs that we have at the high schools are, we're very proud of our general's quarters and our Dragon's Den. These places are rooms set aside for students who at any point during the day, if they feel stressed, if they feel like they need a minute to catch their breath, if they feel like they need a support person to speak to, they can go to these locations and there will be a support staff member there waiting for them, ready to talk to them about whatever it is that they need. If they want to just come and sit for a few minutes, they can just go and sit there. But whatever it is, we are there to help them and we meet them at where they are. We also have morning announcements where video segments, PSAs, school-wide messages addressing the importance of mental, emotional, and physical health are broadcast. We also work on decision making and teaching how to make decisions, how to make good decisions. We have our pre-prom workshops for students and parents that promote healthy decision making while discussing consequences of poor decisions and actions. And we also continue with our school-wide PBIS system, where we review ongoing needs and implement building supports and target interventions to promote a positive school climate. Again, we have a couple of programs that are unique to each building. So Division Avenue has a new student welcome breakfast, where during the course of the year, any new students that have entered are paired with peer leaders, and they review school social emotional building supports while also engaging in friendship building activities. We have Wellness Wednesdays for staff, where it's a teacher-led mindfulness program where they conduct lessons and exercises for staff. There's the Multicultural Acceptance Fair to celebrate diversity and foster respect for others' culture and backgrounds, as well as engage in activities to build friendships. We have the Big Dragon, Little Dragon program, where students serve as mentors for younger students at Summit Lane. We have the Positive Student Group that performs activities connected to the school-wide positive behavior support system, which includes organizing incentives and recognizing fellow students for exemplary behavior and character. Challenge Day we're looking to bring back as well, which was very, very successful when we had it, and that looks at focusing on SEL competencies such as social awareness, interpersonal relationships, self-management, and responsible decision-making. And we also have something called a Bitmoji Wellness Classroom, which provides resources for a host of social emotional tools, including recorded meditations, yoga videos, calming, and tools for appropriate communication, appropriate social communication. MacArthur has had cyberbullying programs, the Stop Then Send Assembly that addresses internet safety and cyberbullying, distracted driving texting awareness, which focuses on and addresses the dangers of texting and driving, PM Accept, which promotes positive behavior and recognizes students' exemplary behavior and character, promotes inclusion and respects diversity, and our Pride Survey, which was a survey that looked at the school climate. And they had students answer a bunch of questions to really look at how are students feeling and what can we do and what supports do students need that we can incorporate in our building. But now, after we've had this whole presentation of what we have in the building and what we've been doing, we had this pandemic that hit. And that kind of put everyone in a little bit of a tailspin. But the good thing about Levittown is that we had a very strong base of SEL supports. We had a very comprehensive system in the elementary schools, in the middle schools, and in the high schools. And so we really, as a team and as a district, looked at what programs do we have, how can we enhance them, and what do we need to do in this particular time. And so I'll go back just a little bit to last year. I won't go through everything we did last year, but one thing that we did do is we did have our mental health support staff, our social workers and psychologists, push in when students were on remote instruction. We had them push into classrooms because we said they may not be in a building with walls, but they're still in our building, they're still in our district, and we want them to know how to reach out and who is here to help support them if they need it. We also felt that by having a face and a name when students returned to school this year, they would be able to associate and remember, hey, that's Mrs. A that came to my class when I was on, when I was on a Google Classroom. And so we made sure that students really were able to identify people in the building, support staff if they needed help. Students coming back, especially some of the younger kids whom this might be their first school year experience now, we also wanted to make sure that they were comfortable walking into a building. And so for those families that asked, and for some that we even outreached, we gave tours to the buildings for students to come and be reacclimated to the school environment. Support staff are meeting and introducing themselves and informing students currently who they are, how they can help students, and what their role is in the building. We also have teachers that we ask them to look in their classrooms as they're teaching, and if there's a particular student that they feel might be having a little difficulty, or they hear about a student that might need some extra support, to connect that student to a support staff member. So building teams are meeting, and we're having team meetings currently on any students that we feel require any sort of SEL, mental health support, mentoring, anything that it is. Our buildings are up and running, and they are having those meetings and looking at what supports we can provide students. And our social workers, psychologists, and guidance support are making themselves visible in the buildings. They're walking the buildings, they're going to the lunchrooms, they're going into classrooms, and they're making sure that students know who they are and that they are available. So we know that we talked a lot about what we're doing in the district, but there is a whole community out there. And so we want to make sure that we collaborate with the community resources in terms of social emotional learning and social emotional supports. And so I've talked in the past about our connection with South Oaks, which is now under Northwell. And so Northwell has really provided a lot of parent support that is up on our website. And so in August and September, they held workshop for parents working on how do I get my child back to school? It's one thing when the teacher is standing there at the door or the bus comes, but that parent has to get up every morning and figure out if they have a student that's concerned or worried or anxious about coming to school, how do I get my child to school? What can I do in the summer to get ready? What can I do for the first day of school? And so Northwell provided these parent workshops for our families. In September and October, they have additional parent workshops, and they're ongoing. And they're working on managing anxiety, healthy sleep habits, healthy eating habits. If we're not sleeping right and we're not eating right, we're not going to be feeling good, and we're definitely going to have trouble in school. And so they're really trying to help parents work on routines in the home. And also, how do we cope with COVID? COVID, it's still here right now. It's sad to say, but we right now have to figure out how are we going to function with it. And so that's what some of their workshops for parents are about. We also continue to have priority care for Levittown families with South Oaks and Northwell. So if a Levittown family ever needs a higher level of care and they need to go to the hospital or they need to go to one of their clinics or outpatient services, and they say that they're a Levittown family, they will get priority scheduling, they will get priority services. Northwell has also provided supports for our staff. So they've also provided webinars and workshops for staff on returning back to school, coping with anxiety, dealing with COVID, tragedy and grief counseling support, balancing work and home. And we also continue to utilize South Oaks when we see that a child or a family needs a higher level of care. So they do provide psychiatric consultation for us, evaluations, and Connect to Care. The Connect to Care is actually a really important one because one of the biggest complaints that we heard from families prior to this partnership was that if they had a child that needed a higher level of care or they needed to find a therapist or a psychiatrist, they were having a really hard time connecting. Sometimes it was an insurance issue. Sometimes it just was, hey, I'm not taking any new clients, or you're going to have to wait 3 months. And so South Oaks makes sure that they find a therapist, a counselor, a group. They work with our parents' insurance, or if they don't have insurance, they find and they get a therapist in for our families. And so that has really been a great connection that we've had with South Oaks. Northwell, which also has Cohen Children's Medical Center under them, is doing a virtual bullying conference which both middle schools are taking part in, both Salk and Wisdom, and that's coming up. And it's really looking at interactive activities, including motivational sessions from high school students regarding exploring bullying trends among their age group. The other thing that we also are doing now is, right now we have a lot of programs in the district. We have a lot of connections with out-of-district agencies. And we also want to make sure that, God forbid there's ever a tragedy in the district, that our staff know what to do. And so currently we're updating our crisis manuals in the district, and we're training all staff from top to bottom, bottom to top, sideways, to really know what to do in the event of a crisis, what to do in the event of a tragedy. If I'm that English teacher and I'm at home on a Saturday reading an English paper, and I see that a student wrote something concerning, what do I do? Who do I call? What are the next steps? And so that's all part of the training that the district is undergoing right now. The other program that we've also just recently partnered with is New York Project Hope. And this is a grant program that came out of Sandy, that when there is a disaster in New York, there are programs that are put in place for districts. So New York Project Hope has continued due to the pandemic. And so they're offering 3 things, and these are all free for the district to work with. One is an emotional support helpline. So any family, child, student that is in crisis, that needs someone to talk to, there's a hotline that they can call anonymously. If we know many people have lost their jobs and have financial issues because of the pandemic, they have a booklet of 300 somewhat resources that they connect families to related to financial. And they also offer online wellness groups. And so our social workers just heard of a presentation from New York Project Hope, and they're going to be implementing and connecting families as appropriate. And then additional SEL community resources. Thanks to Dr. McDonald, we are a member of LISPAN, which is Long Island School Practitioner Action Network. And what that is it's a group of districts that got together and said, you know, at any given point, any district could have a difficulty, could have a crisis, could have something happen. Wouldn't it be great if we can all work together? And so the districts, these neighboring districts, got together and they've trained support staff in their buildings in different things. We've trained them on SEL, we trained them on what to do if there's, potentially a shooting, what to do if there's a death, what to do, anything you can imagine. And if a district has a specific situation that goes on and they feel like they have a shortage of support staff, these neighboring districts that are part of this action network will send support staff to help. And so we're part of that. Our families continue to use Yes Counseling Center, and we also are very happy to be part of the Levittown Community Action Coalition. So all in all, we really have a very comprehensive set of SEL programs here in districts. We've partnered with a number of different agencies, and I'm really proud to say that we really do offer a wide variety of SEL support. So I thank you so much for all your support, the Board of Education support, for us being able to provide this to our students and families. Thank you.
Yeah, I have some questions, Dr. Faber. So they're a little specific. So I think and I'll tell you in the realm of which I'm looking. I see we have truly grown our outreach program. We have truly gone out into the fields and really tapped into the resources that are out there. And that's a huge upgrade in the last couple of years for Levittown. So I really want to say thank you very much for that. My concerns are this is like an overview. Like, for example, middle school, 6th grade, classroom push-ins that encompass social emotional lessons pertaining to middle schools and emotional regulation. Who pushes in? What's the frequency? What's the fidelity? How is this monitored? This is just so So, and I don't expect you to have the answers now, but this is something I can write up for Dr. McDonald, and she could get it. The 7th grade, how the growth mindset. Well, it's got to be comprehensive.
I didn't put that all in for tonight because it was a very lengthy presentation because there were so
I
many
get
supports.
that.
But we can get if you want, we can get frequencies, durations, grades.
Who's doing it? Is it a program that's like a program brought in? Is it a program that we, a curriculum
that's
that
in-house.
we're using? All of that. But the board would like to know specifics. And like with the growth mindset, providing insight. We know what growth mindset is, like who's doing it, how is it being done, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we need, the board would like a lot more specifics on the framework that you put down here. But I do, it's a very comprehensive presentation, I appreciate it, and the outreach is a huge improvement from the way it was a couple of years ago, so.
Okay, so you'll let me know what the board
Yeah.
would like, and
Yeah.
Dr. Farber will
And I
answer
think,
them.
Can I ask a couple
Ms.
questions?
Messina has a few questions too.
My first question is the resources that are available through the New York Project Hope. Is that on the website also?
New York Project Hope may not have made it to the website yet because we just connected with them a few days ago.
Okay.
So it's en route.
Okay. I have one more question, and now I just lost it. All right. Okay. We're talking about the transitioning students back during a pandemic, and it said that they're having team meetings. I would just love to have information on the elementary, middle, and then high school level on how they're being identified. Is it like is it called IT? How do you guys call it?
The
Instruction support?
IST, you're talking about the IST.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
team meetings are happening based on need. So it's not like every single student in the district we're having team meetings on, but based on what the teachers are identifying, the team meetings are happening. So depending on the level, they're either IST, PPT, so it depends on the level.
And just so, like, I know you said you're talking about training teachers. So, like, what are teachers? Do they know what to look for in a student, right, to identify if that's a concern? Because if a kid is typically always kind of withdrawn, right, that's how they are. But if they're more withdrawn than they were in 2 years previous, like, I just want to make sure everyone that needs help is getting identified and that teachers are aware of what.
Yeah,
to
no,
look for.
definitely good question. So our support staff have met with our teachers, but in addition to that, there is training that's happening in October, the end of October, for our crisis teams and support staff. They're going to then turnkey training at our faculty meetings.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have one more question. I have a lot of questions. I'm a teacher, so it's okay. For the Beautiful Me project, is that at every elementary school, or is that at just some of them?
At the fifth grade level, it's at every, I believe it's at every elementary school, but I can confirm.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Please send them to me, and then I'll get them to Dr. Farber, and she can,
Yeah, we'll
and
work
she'll
on
respond.
formulating it.
Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Great, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dr. Farber. We are up to Dr. McDonald, it's up to you. We're up to the public be heard follow-up questions.
Thank you.
Follow-up to the questions.
There were 4 speakers at Public Be Heard that required answers. The first one was for Mrs. Lillian Conroy. That dealt with specific issues, and I responded to her specifically, so I won't read that one out. Second was to Mrs. Michelle Gaudelman. Dear Mrs. Gaudelman, thank you for speaking at the September 22nd, 2021 board meeting, during which you raised several issues that are of concern to you. COVID guidance and reopening plans. As you may know, the school district received no guidance about the reopening of schools until just before school began, when the New York State Department of Health instituted a mask mandate for all schools. While the district waited for guidance, a survey was developed and sent to our schools community, asking their preference about several items, including the wearing of masks. We discussed this option with several members of the school community. Using that information, the district drafted a plan which was put on our website on the evening of August 26th. An email message went out to the community on August 27th. The Board of Education and district administration took the survey results very seriously when drafting that plan, which we believed provided a safe environment for our children to learn, but was subsequently superseded by the state mandate. Insurance. The statewide proliferation of lawsuits against school districts have caused our insurance company, NYSER, who represents the majority of districts in New York State, to reevaluate its coverage items. As a result, they have asked for a rider to cover outside vendors who come into school property for fundraisers, etc. As NYSER represents most of the districts in Nassau County, this is an issue that is affecting all districts in our county. While it is true that our district has not been the subject of vendor-caused lawsuits, other districts in our area have, and insurance companies look at liability in a holistic way, making policies and coverage guidelines based on what is going on with their clients. When you last met with the district clerk and our business official, the meeting concluded with a commitment from the district to work with NYSER to develop a list of approved vendors so that our PTA members would be able to choose from the list when they want to provide an enrichment or fundraising opportunity for our kids. As advised you on September 17th, several vendors have been approved district-wide, and we continue to work with NYSER and other districts in the county to develop a useful list for our school community. The potential consequences that we face by not following our insurance company's regulations is to be dropped and to be forced to find other coverage at increased expense. I believe that we can work through this situation, but need additional time to ensure that we do so while not compromising our liability insurance. And I have an update on that after I'm done. I'll just give an update. Volunteers. As I indicated to you during our conversation last week, the protocols for volunteers in the district were developed for individuals who would be working with students for an extended period of time, such as class parents. Since our conversation, we have clarified what we are requiring and directed principals to provide this information to our PTA volunteers. As such, only parents who are assisting a teacher in a typical classroom setting for 40+ minutes or more, and who are working with children other than their own at closer than 6 feet, must be vaccinated or show a negative COVID test. These are the same guidelines that our staff must meet. All other volunteers must have their temperature checked and must fill out the health screening form. Although testing is encouraged by the CDC is not required for individuals who are vaccinated, the CDC has the following statement on its website. It is recommended that fully vaccinated people with no COVID-19-like symptoms and no known exposure should be exempted from routine screening testing programs if feasible. If you would like to read the entire document, please go to the following interim public health recommendations for fully vaccinated people, and I gave her the website. Interviews. We have traditionally provided an opportunity for the PTA to be involved in building-level interview committees. There were a few instances where the invitation was not sent out, and I have apologized for those errors, and we have ensured that our process includes a PTA invitation to participate should they wish. It should be noted that in the past, many invitations were sent and the PTA did decline to participate, which is understandable. However, we acknowledge that we will offer the opportunity. There have also been, during the past years, many committees upon which the PTA did participate. Regarding the district doctor, we have 2 district doctors who are not employees of the district, but who are consultants. Dr. Qual Connolly has been with us for many years, and she's done an excellent job in providing us medical advice and direction. 2 years ago, we contracted to provide a second doctor through BOCES due to a need to have a doctor that can conduct adult examinations of our employees. The doctor we contracted with last year retired, and our new doctor, Dr. Fagan, came on board this year. As I discussed with you at our last conversation, neither of these doctors are district employees. No interview committee was put together to hire either of them. Hand washing. You are correct in that low-flow faucets have been in our schools for many years. As I indicated in our previous conversations, as we redo bathrooms, we have been updating these faucets. We plan to recommend a proposition during the next budget cycle where we will include using the capital reserve for bathroom refurbishments. Students should not be pressing the tap while hand washing. They should press the tap to wet their hands, add soap, and continue to lather their hands for the required amount of time. They should then rinse their hands off. We will remind students of the correct hand washing procedures. Community water. We have discussed this several times over the course of the past couple of years. You have asked why we do not provide a full building filtration system to East Broadway and Lee Road. When our facilities director and business official last met with representatives from the Navy this summer, we were told that no filtration system yet exists, commercial or otherwise, that can filter out the amount of dioxane in the water being supplied by New York Water. The Navy has a proprietary system that is not available for us to purchase. Rather, they are focused on filtering the water at the groundwater level. As a result, we have been providing water at East Broadway and Lee Road. We have water jugs throughout the building for student use. We have directed Chartwells not to include water in the food served to children. The bottle filler in the schools has remained on as the Department of Health has deemed the water safe to drink. I am enclosing a letter from the Department of Health dated 9/30/21 stating that, as well as the original letter dating March 5th, 2020. Nevertheless, since some parents are concerned about the dioxane levels in the community, we continue to provide spring water free of charge for students. Moreover, when teachers take their students to fill up the bottles, they will be taken to the spring water coolers, which are dispersed throughout the building, and not to the bottle filler in the cafeteria. And those letters are in front if anybody wants them. Mental health. The Levittown School District has always provided a robust complement of mental health services for our children. When it was not the norm to have social workers and psychologists in each school, Levittown led the way. We continue to provide a more enhanced services in our schools and will be making a presentation to the Board of Education at our October 13th meeting. You state that the Board of Education has proven you will bow down to a governor's rules despite being well aware of the lack of judgment that administration has. This board has consulted with our attorney on several occasions with respect to the mandates placed upon us over the past couple of years. We are bound to follow the regulations set forth by the governor of the state of New York and have discussed with our attorneys the consequences of not doing so. They are civil and criminal penalties, loss of state aid, closing of our schools, fines of $1,000 per day for not following regulations, removal of our Board of Education with SED directly operating the schools. You're right, the Board of Education members are elected to represent the community, but they must do so in a lawful way. School officials take an oath to obey all legal requirements, not just those which they deem popular and expedient. Please feel free to contact me should you have additional questions on these matters. As is our protocol, this response will be read in public during the October 13th board meeting. Next was to Mrs. Lyons. Dear Beth, thank you for your email and for speaking at our 9/22/21 meeting. As a person who suffers from food allergies and has experienced anaphylaxis, you can be assured that I understand the issues you raise. I agree that medical exemptions should not be casually denied, and please know that they are not. Here is our process for granting a medical exemption for vaccinations. 1. Parent requests the exemption. 2. Child's doctor submits medical reason for the exemption. 3. The district doctor reviews the information provided by the doctor. He or she may call the child's doctor if there is a further question, and the doctors will discuss the case. 4. The exemption is granted or denied. An appeal can then be made to the superintendent, who can override the doctor's denial based on either additional information provided or a further conversation with the child's doctor or the district doctor. Our first priority is the safety and well-being of our students. Please always feel free to contact me directly should you have a concern on this or any other issue. As is our protocol, this response will be read at our next board meeting on October 13th. And the final response was to Mr. Joseph Massoni. Dear Mr. Massoni, thank you for speaking at the September 22nd, 2021 meeting of the Levittown Board of Education. During the meeting, you asked questions about the American Rescue Plan and about mental health supports in our district. You specifically wanted to know why funds for air conditioning were included in our request and money to fund mental health supports was not. You also asked who served on the committee to determine uses for the money. Before submitting a plan on behalf of the district for Phase 1, we met with a representative from the PTA as well as district employees, keeping in mind what would be allowable use of the allocation set up by the government. Air conditioners, which are an allowable expense, will boost our existing HVAC system so that together ventilation will be increased in our classrooms. This was specifically requested by the PTA. Regarding mental health supports, please know that we have a robust mental health program in Levittown. Our Director of Special Education will be presenting on this topic at our next meeting on October 13th. If you're unable to make the meeting, please let me know and I will provide you with a copy of the presentation. If you need further information or would like to serve on committees of this nature in the future, please let me know and I will see to it that you are invited. People of your passion and intellect are always welcome. As is our protocol, this letter will be read aloud at our next meeting on October 13th. That concludes my responses to public be heard.
Thank you, Dr. McDonald.
Very good, Tony.
Okay, next we have our student liaisons. And tonight, I think we will have our liaison from MacArthur go first.
Testing. Okay. Hi, everyone. Once again, my name is Khalil Garrett, and I'm the proud student representative to the superintendent this year from MacArthur High School. I'm very excited about this. Since the last meeting, lots of great things have happened in General Nation. On September 24th, we had an extremely successful and spirited pep rally. All students sat in the bleachers and lined up along the fence and cheered on all of the fall athletic teams, along with our marching bands, Color Guard, and Kick Line, which led us into a beautiful homecoming day on Saturday, September 25th. We began with our annual parade, where we marched down Gardner's Avenue and Old Jerusalem Road. We conducted our pregame festivities on our turf field, where we honored all of our senior football players, cheerleaders, marching band members, color guard, and kick line members, along with their parents. We also introduced our grand marshals, Brandon Lane and Matthew D'Angelo, and our entire homecoming court. Congratulations to Jack Butler for being named Homecoming King and Kylie Zanelli for being named Homecoming Queen. Congratulations to our varsity football team for their big win against Herricks High School, and of course to all who participated and took part in this beautiful event. On September 30th, we conducted a very successful virtual back-to-school night presentation via Google Meets. Each teacher was giving an 8-minute overview of the course requirements and grading policies. Each session was well attended. Additionally, this past Friday night, we conducted our 10th annual Pink Out varsity football game. All money raised will be donated to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Centers, which will benefit cancer patients and research right here on Long Island. Special thanks to Mrs. Nicole Savage and Ms. Tammy Mayer for once again spearheading this magnificent event, and to our varsity football team for their big win against Cary High School. To continue, just today we took our senior group photo on our turf field bleachers, which will be placed in our yearbook. On Saturday, October 16th, we'll be conducting our PSAT exam for all 10th and 11th grade students who registered for it. The exam begins at 7:45 a.m., and all registered students should report to the main entrance by 7:30 a.m. and bring 2 number 2 pencils, student ID, and a calculator. Good luck to all our test takers. On October 28th, we'll be conducting our first ever masked entertainer. It most certainly will be a lot of fun and entertaining, to say the least. Also on October 28th, Social Studies teacher Mrs. Fritsch will be taking students from her Facing Histories classes to the Glen Cove Holocaust Museum. Half of the time, students will participate in a guided tour of the museum, and the other half will feature a presentation from a family member of a Holocaust survivor. Preceding this event, on Friday, October 29th, Mr. Zalzin and Dr. Freeman are planning on having members of the science research team participate in the Middle States American Association of Geographers virtual conference through Rutgers University. There will be several workshops offered for students to take advantage of, which are related to a wide range of areas in geographic distribution. And finally, congratulations to our senior students, Eunice Lee and Andrew Beck, for being named National Merit Commended Students by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation for their outstanding scores on last year's PSAT exams. Both Eunice and Andrew finished in the top 3.5% of all test takers in the entire country. Way to go, Eunice and Andrew. This concludes my report. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Good evening. I hope everyone is doing well. And for those of you who might not have been here last week, I am Chris Powers, a senior at Division Avenue High School, and represent the school at these board meetings. Now let's move on to the student life at this month and the upcoming events at Division Avenue High School. This year, Division Avenue High School has over 50 new students. The high school hosted a breakfast for these new students on September 28th. They met with their peer leaders, administration, counselors, and support staff. They then participated in a fun icebreaker with each other and staff to build relationships with their administration, counselors, and new friends. It was a wonderful morning. On Thursday, September 30th, Division Avenue High School hosted a club fair during lunch periods. Representatives for over 16 clubs provided students with information about their respective clubs. Students looked through pamphlets, brochures, and trifolds. Each club gained many new members, and I would say was our first successful club fair that I've seen. On Wednesday, October 6th, the guidance counselor hosted a meet and greet for 9th grade students during lunch periods. Students ate lunch outdoors and participated in conversations with each other and their guidance counselors about school life. They participated in an icebreaker activity within their groups and their counselors to learn more about each other. They also enjoyed some delicious desserts. Thank you to Mr. Curtis, our guidance chair, and his counselors for organizing this event for the freshmen. Homecoming court nominees were announced on Friday. 6 king nominees and 6 queen nominees. Good luck to everyone. Winners will be announced at our homecoming game on October 29th. Club participants are currently making banners to bring the annual homecoming parade to promote their club or grade spirit. The entire school eagerly awaits the pep rally, which will occur during 8th and 9th period on October 29th, which will then be followed by the homecoming parade, which will start at Northside Elementary School at roughly 4:30. Hope to see you all there. And lastly, in regards to student life, our senior class will be hosting a car wash fundraiser for senior activities, so feel free to come by and support the class of 2022. In regards to academics, seniors are currently working on their college applications as some of the early action/early decision deadlines are approaching soon. Peer tutoring started again and is being hosted by the National Honor Society. We are happy to reinstate this program, and if any student needs help with any subject, we have a wide assortment of tutors available to help, so feel free to email Mr. Pierce with any questions. Lastly, regarding academics, Division Avenue High School will be hosting a PSAT exam this weekend on Saturday the 16th, so good luck to any test takers as they prepare for the upcoming exam. In sports-related news, the volleyball team will be hosting Dig Pink on Thursday, October 21st, and the annual Dig Pink event. So feel free to come out and support our team. Division Avenue hosted an alumni baseball game for the past players of Division Avenue baseball. It was the odd graduating years versus the even graduating years, and the game was a huge success. It was very cool to watch legacy players come on our home field and play, especially old coaches such as Coach Wadine. Our varsity boys soccer team hosted their annual senior night on October 9th. The stands were filled with pictures of our senior soccer players as we rallied to support the team. Senior Justin Fernandez scored 2 goals that night, but the game ultimately ended in a tie with the score 3-3. Similarly, the girls' varsity soccer team had their senior night, and it was a massive success as the team consists of 7 girls seniors. Younger teammates made posters to show their support for the girls. Congratulations and good luck on the upcoming game. Lastly, our Division Avenue football team is having their senior game Friday at home against Plain Edge, the #1 seed in our division. Come by and support our seniors as they battle it out against the Red Devils. That is all for Division Avenue News. I hope to see you at our upcoming events this week. Thank you, and go Dragons.
Chris, I just want you to know that I took a picture of you. I sent it to your dad so he knows you're here. Maybe give you a bump in your allowance, too.
Okay.
Beautiful sweatshirts and the hats you sent. I just wanted to acknowledge because we didn't see you back there. So, all right. So those are from the Phys Ed department. Thank you very much. I just wanted to update on, I did say I would give an update on the insurance. We have ascertained from BOCES that all cultural arts programs that the PTA uses in our schools will be covered by insurance, so there's no need for the PTA to worry about that. That's been an assurance from BOCES. And Dr. Dillon, can you talk about the booster clubs, please?
Just depending on the event and what type they're holding, we'll work with each booster club and work with the insurance company. It all depends on the type of event and what they're doing. So we will work with them.
It would essentially mean that if they're having a vendor in, if they're doing something that
Correct.
would be
Based upon the number of people, type of vendor. So
So we hope to have a definitive answer to the PTA. Well, not really for
Yeah,
all
every
parents.
every event will be treated differently, but
Right.
we will definitely have like a set of guidelines for each event.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And the BOCES coverage will mean there's no cost to the PTAs, the booster clubs, or any of the units like that?
For the BOCES pieces, yes.
Thank
It's
you.
covered by BOCES.
Okay, thank you, Dr. McDonald. We are now up to the public be heard part of our meeting. We have one speaker this evening for the public be heard. Please, when your name is called, come up to the podium and they will give you a microphone. Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes to speak. So our speaker this evening is James Hudak. Hudak. Thank you, Mr. Hudak.
James Hudak, 20 Wood Lane, Levittown. I'd like to know if a pair of night vision goggles were purchased by the security department. If they were, what was the cost and who approved this purchase? I'd like a detailed explanation on why they were purchased, who will be approved to use them, and what safeguards will be put in place to ensure that they are not misused. My second question is, in the last several years, 2 security aides were forced to resign for stealing district funds by not performing their patrol duties. One was working out at Planet Fitness during his tour, and the other one was going home and broadcasting false radio communications to make it seem that he was at work. I'd like to know why they weren't arrested for the theft of district funds, and has the district made any attempt to recover the funds from these former employees? I'd like to know why, if the district has not made an attempt, I'd like to know why and who made the decision that these funds not attempt to recover these funds.
Thank you, Mr. Hudak, and somebody from the district will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours to have the answer.
Thank you very much.
Before the next meeting, to get back to your questions. Thank you. Okay, next we move to the consent agenda. Our consent agenda is numbers 1 through 13. Do I have a motion? Jimmy, do I have a second? Dylan? All in favor?
I have comment?
6-0.
Sorry.
Any discussion?
Yeah. There was a mistake in the minutes, and my apologies. It's probably my fault for mumbling and having I actually moved this up to my mouth now. So, page 6 says Mr. Pappas noted that Amazon Drive is making $25 per hour delivering cell phone packages. That one, it should read. I'm sorry. We're not getting drivers. We have to look at an increase in pay or signing bonuses like private companies are doing. Ms. Marangari agreed. That's the second line. Thank you very much for fixing that. I know I'm not allowed to add anything to the minutes, but I would like everyone to know that Board of Education and Central Office team value the people who deliver the most precious cargo in the world, our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pappas. Okay, next we have action items, gifts to school. Recommend motion resolved that the Levittown Board of Education does hereby accept with thanks the following gifts. 1 box of lady handkerchiefs from the 1960s and 1970s to be donated to Division Avenue High School Art Department from Mr. Barry Jake Richter. Next, approximately 10 to 12 cartons of assorted magazines as listed on the attached to be donated to Division Avenue High School Art Department from Mr. Barry Jake Richter. Do I have a motion to accept the gifts? Mr. Pappas, do I have a second? Ms. Messina, all in favor? 6-0. Okay. Our next Board of Education meetings, we have a regular meeting on November 3rd and a planning session on November 17th. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Mrs. Lang, do I have a second? Mr. Kane, all in favor? 6. Jim? 6. Motion is adjourned.